Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, thank you for your kind association. Let us begin. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadādhara Shrivas Ādi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, let us continue our study of Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 6, entitled Conversations between Sri Narada Muni and Srila Vyasadeva. And we discussed till verse number 28, day before yesterday, I believe. Is that correct? So today we will begin with verse number 29. All the
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Sorry, are we not reciting the verses anymore, Prabhuji?
Oh, thank you so much for the reminder. Last session also we forgot. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. 1 second. Yeah, that way we can memorize them. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadasya yatonvayaditarata Sharthesha Bhikyaswarat Tene Brahmaridhaya Ādi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayah Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharmah Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayonmulanam Śrīmad-Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim Vaparayirishvaraha Sadyorid Avarudhyate Trakritibihi Shushrushubistatkshanat Nigama Kalpatarorgalitam Phalam Shukamukhadamrita Dravasam Yutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhur Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radhokshaje Ahaituk Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Atah pumbir dvijashreshtha varnashrama vibhagashah swanu shishtasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Ete cham shakalah pumsah krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. Tadvag visargo janatagha viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadavat api namanyanantasya yashankitani yat shrunvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha. Yasyam vai shruyamānāyā Krishne parama purushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shokamoha bhayapaha atma ramascha munayo nirgrantha urukrame kurvanti ahetukim bhaktim itham bhuta guno harihi. त्वयि मे अनन्य विषया मतिर्मधुपते सकृत रतिम उद्वहताद अद्धा गंगे वौघम वदन उदन्वती. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. श्री गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. So dear devotees, we'll start from text 29. Shripad Narada Muni is continuing describing about his own previous life to Srila Vyasadeva because Srila Vyasadeva inquired. Because he inquired. So verse number 29. Kalpanta idam adaya shayane ambasi utvataha shishaishor anupranam vivishayantar aham vibho. Translations and purports by our beloved and revered founder Acharya Om Vishnupada Paramhams Parivrajaka Shtottar Shata Shri Śrīmad Abhay Charana Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. At the end of the millennium, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, lay down within the water of devastation, Brahmaji began to enter into Lord Narayan along with all creative elements, and I also entered through his breathing. So we saw how Shripad Narada Muni in his previous life was the son of a Shudrani. He was a Dasiputra, and he performed intense bhajan. Oh, we have to start from verse number 31? No, I think 21.
No, I'm so sorry, Prabhuji. It was my fault. Yeah, sorry.
No worries, no problem.
29 is okay.
Okay. So we saw how Shripad Narada Muni performed intense bhajan as a Dasiputra, and as a result, all his fruitive reactions were burnt away. He became completely purified. He had Sakshat Darshan of Krishna. Soon after that, Krishna disappeared, but then Krishna spoke to him and said that you will not be able to see me again in this life, but in your next life, you will attain me. You will have a spiritual body. That Dasiputra gave up his body and he's going to become Shri Narada Muni. And how that is going to happen, we are going to see now. So at the end of the millennium, so here the end of the millennium means at the end of the day of Lord Brahma. Kalpa Ante. So Lord Narayan, he lay down on the water of devastation because there is devastation. In the 12th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is described that there are 4 types of annihilation. There is a continuous annihilation that goes on every moment in the material world. Everything is deteriorating. There is annihilation at the end of each day of Brahmaji. There is annihilation at the end of Brahmaji's life. And the fourth type of annihilation is the annihilation that takes place when the Jivatma finishes all his karma, gets rid of his false ego completely, and gets liberated. So for that soul, it is the complete annihilation of all material existence. So these four types of annihilations are discussed. So at the end of the day of Brahma, there was complete destruction, and Narada Muni entered into the breathing. He entered into the body of Lord Narayan. This is the Mahavishnu. Everyone please okay, let me make Latini Gopika Mataji the co-host. Mataji. Okay, Mataji, you can kindly take over. So, Narada Muni, along with Lord Brahma and all the creative elements, entered into the body of Lord Narayan. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, birth and activities of Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, are all transcendental. Raise your hand who knows this verse from Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Satyarupa Mataji and Janani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Is it Janma Karma Chame Divyam 4.9?
Yes, very nice. Beautiful. Janma Karma Chame Divyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. The birth of Narad as the son of Brahma is also transcendental pastime. Srila Prabhupada is saying. So, Janma Karma Chame Divyam. Krishna's birth and Krishna's activities are transcendental. Similarly, the birth and activities of Krishna's pure devotees are also transcendental. Praman is in this purport of Srila Prabhupada. Okay? That's why we celebrate the appearance and disappearance days of our acharyas who are pure devotees. The birth of Sri Narada Muni as a son of Brahma is also transcendental pastime. His appearance and disappearance are practical in the same level of that of the Lord. Clearly, Srila Prabhupada is saying. Bhagwan and Bhaktas, the Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different as spiritual entities. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastrir. Shri Guru, the pure devotees, are simultaneously one with Lord. How they are one with Lord? Can someone raise your hand? Who can explain? What is the meaning that the pure devotees are simultaneously one and different from the Lord? Who can explain it succinctly? Okay, Shanta Radhika Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, we can explain it by the example of butter and milk. Like
No, I don't want example. I want explanation. How a pure devotee is simultaneously one with Krishna and simultaneously different also. Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord and his devotees, look at the second last sentence of the purport to verse 29. The Lord and his devotees are therefore simultaneously one and different as spiritual entities.
Because we are the part and parcel of Lord.
No. Everybody is listen. Everybody is part and parcel, not just pure devotees. Mama Amsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. I am asking how a pure devotee is simultaneously one yet different from Lord. Explain it. Can you explain, Shantaradhika Mataji?
No, Prabhuji, sorry.
Okay, no problem. But you tried well. Kirtida Sundari Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. The pure devotees are simultaneously one with the Lord because they develop the same qualities, godly qualities as of the Lord. They are different as spiritual entities because after all, every individual is different.
Something more about being different from the Lord?
Are the representatives of the Supreme Lord, as it says, Sakshat Dharmitena Samasta Shastra.
That is similarity. They are non-different. But how they are different? Something more. Why they are different?
Sorry, bro.
Service. For the sake of service. For the sake of service. Radha Krishna Seva Pao Ei Abhilashi. There can be no service if there is oneness. You see? So for the sake of seva, they maintain their individuality. Just like Radharani, she maintains her separate identity for the sake of service. Radha Krishna eka atma dui deha dhari anyonye vilasa rasa aswadana kori. Ras aswadan ke liye, for the sake of ras aswadan, for the sake of tasting loving relationships, the rasa, Radha and Krishna maintain their separate individuality. Actually, they are one. Radha Krishna eka atma. So there is difference between a pure devotee and Bhagwan for the sake of loving exchanges, because loving exchanges can happen between two entities. So there is difference. Why there is oneness? Because they are so united in their purpose, so united in love. And also, like Kirtana Sundari Mataji explained, the devotee develops transcendental qualities. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Shanta Radhika Mataji, you want to explain now in your own words? You want to take it give it a try?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because they are one, because they develop the qualities of the Lord, similar qualities, and they are different because they want to serve Lord and they want to relish the seva like bhavas, dasya bhav, sakhya bhav, madhurya bhav, all these 5 rasas ke andar they want to taste all these rasas. So they are different from the Lord.
Super. Very good, Shanta Radhika Mataji. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we go to verse number 3. Sahasra yuga paryante uthayedam shishkrikshataha marichi mishra rishayah pranebhyoham cha jajnire. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. After, is it 4 trillion or is it billion? I always get confused. So this is thousands, this is million. I think it is billion, na? Billion, na? 4.3 billion years. The duration of so after 4.3 billion solar years, means earthly years, when Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord, all the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord. And I also appeared along with them. Now please pay attention, dear devotees. So after the end of Brahmaji's night, Brahmaji awoke. And that is 4.3 billion years. The lifetime of Brahmaji is trillions of years. But one night of Brahma is 4.3 billion years. So after 4.3 billion years, Lord Brahma woke up. And by the will of the Lord, he starts the process of creation again. Is this primary creation or secondary creation? Raise your hand. Is it Sarga or Visarga? Sharanagati Mataji?
It is a secondary creation, Prabhuji. It is a visarga.
Very good. Atra Sarga Visargasya Sthanam Poshanam Uttaya Manvante Rashanu Katha Nirodho Muktir Ashraya. So Sarga is primary creation that is done by Lord Mahavishnu through his glance. Through his breathing, exhalation, everything is created. That is primary creation. Using the material ingredients, using the earth, water, fire, air, ether to create the 14 planetary systems and all the living entities. That is secondary creation. That Brahmaji does. Primary creation, Lord Vishnu does. Secondary creation, Lord Brahma does. So this is secondary creation. Very good. So for this period, Brahmaji rests in Yoga Nidra within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So the bedroom of Lord Brahmaji is what? It is the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Shri Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Not Mahavishnu, sorry, I made a mistake. That is when Brahmaji dies, at the end of Brahmaji's life, and everything goes inside Lord Mahavishnu. So Srila Prabhupada writes, so for this period, Brahmaji rests at night, Yoga Nidra, within the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who is the generator of Lord Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu, who is generator of Lord Brahma. Brahmaji comes from the navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He's born on the lotus. Thus, after the sleeping period of Brahma, when there is again creation by the will of the Lord through the agency of Brahma, all the rishis again appear from different parts of the transcendental body. This is all explained in the 3rd canto. We'll see it. And Narada Muni also appears. Okay. This means that Narad appears in the same transcendental body, just as a man awakens from sleep in the same body. So we sleep at night, next day again the same body wakes up. Similarly, Narad Muni, he goes to sleep along with Lord Brahma, and when there is again the next day of Brahma, Narad Muni again comes in the same self-spiritual body. because now he has a spiritual body. Shri Narad is eternally free to move in all parts of the transcendental and material creations of the Almighty. He appears and disappears in his own transcendental body, which is without distinction of body and soul. In our body, there is a gross body, there is a subtle body, and there is a spiritual body. We have three bodies, correct? Original body is a spiritual body. But then we have a covering of subtle body, and outside that there is a covering of gross body. Does Narada Muni have these distinctions? Does Narada Muni have a mind? You can nod.
It's just transcendental, spiritual.
Just spiritual body. Narada Muni has no subtle body, no gross body. He just has a spiritual body. Thank you, Amrit Karan Prabhu. That you have to clearly understand. Narada Muni has a spiritual body. Verse 31. Antarbahishcha lokam strin paryem askandita vrataha anugraha mahavishnor avighata gatikvachit. Since then, by the grace of the Almighty Lord Vishnu, I travel everywhere without restriction, both in the transcendental world and in the three divisions of the material world. What is the word used for three divisions of the material world? Trin Lokan, three planetary systems. And what is the word used for the spiritual world? Antah. Antah means in the transcendental world, which is under the control of the Antaranga Shakti, the internal potency of the Lord. I travel everywhere, material and spiritual world. This is because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. Because Srimad Narada Muni is continuously absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he can do this. Our problem is we are absorbed in material consciousness. But Sri Narada Muni is a liberated soul. Liberated soul means always engaged in unbroken devotional service. Clearly it is said, unbroken devotional service. Askhandita. Askhandita. Unbroken devotional service. This means that a pure devotee does not fall down. A pure devotee is engaged in unbroken devotional service. If the devotional service is not apratihata, then it is not pure devotional service. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, there are three divisions of the material world. Urdhvalok, upper planetary system, Madhyalok, the middle planetary system, and Adholok, downward planetary systems. Which is that verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, who goes where? Upper planetary system, middle, and lower. So let's see. Saroja Nandini Mataji, please go ahead.
Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasaha jaganya gunavrittischa ado gacchanti tamasaha.
Excellent. Can you tell the meaning also to all of us very quickly?
People who are in the mode of goodness, they go to the upper planetary system. And then people who are in the mode of passion, they stay in the middle, madhya. And then people who are in the mode of ignorance, they go to the downward planets, Adoga Loka.
Excellent. Thank you, Mataji. So there are three planetary systems in the material world. Beyond the Urdhvalok, beyond the upper planetary systems, that is to say, above Brahmalok. Brahmalok is the topmost upper planetary system. So beyond Brahmalok are the material coverings of the universe. There are 8 layers. Layer of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And above that is the spiritual sky, which is unlimited in expansion. And Srila Prabhupada is giving the description of the spiritual world. Please read carefully. So beyond the material sky is a spiritual sky, which is unlimited in expansion. It is unlimited, containing unlimited self-illuminated Vaikuntha planets inhabited by God himself, along with his associates, Hari and Hari Parshads, who are Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated living entities. This is the description of the spiritual world. So we should relish such descriptions. Shri Narada Muni could enter all these planets in both the material and spiritual spheres without restriction. This is Mahavishnu Anugraha. This is by the mercy of Lord Vishnu. Further down, Srila Prabhupada writes, he is a liberated spaceman. Someone please share in the chat box. There is a song that one disciple of Srila Prabhupada wrote. I think Hayagriv Prabhu. Hayagriva Prabhu wrote a poem, just Google it. Hayagriva Prabhu wrote a poem called Narada Muni, the Transcendental Spaceman. If someone can find it, just put it in the chat box, please. Okay. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is writing this first canto purport. So Prabhupada wrote these purports before coming to America when he was in Vrindavan Dham. And there it is written. Prabhupada writes, Sri Narada Muni is a liberated spaceman. Then Srila Prabhupada's Western disciple, our Hayagriva Prabhu, he wrote a very nice poem. Prabhupada liked it. It was published in Back to Godhead magazine. The rishis, further below, the rishis, as above mentioned, cannot enter into the transcendental world like Narada Muni. So there are many rishis like Narada Muni. Everybody knows, but all these rishis cannot enter the Vaikuntha Lok. Shri Narada Muni is free. Shri Narada Muni can go to Golok Vrindavan also. He can go to Ayodhya. He can go to any Vaikuntha planet. He can come to material world. But we should not think that other rishis also have the same power. Srila Prabhupada is clearly writing. This fact is disclosed in Sri Narasimha Purana. Other rishis cannot. Therefore, Narada Muni is called Rishivar, the best among the rishis, or he is called Devarishi, the rishis among the demigod, greatest rishi among the demigods. So rishis like Marichi are authoritative. Their authority in his authority in fruitive work. Rishis like Sanak, Sanatan are authorities in philosophical speculations. But Sri Narada Muni is the prime authority for transcendental devotional service of the Lord Krishna. So you see the special position of Narada Muni. Everybody can appreciate. Nod your heads if you can appreciate. Special position of Narada Muni. And later Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Sri Narada Muni has given us the Narada Bhakti Sutra, which we all have to follow. And Srila Prabhupada translated Narada Bhakti Sutra. Look, somebody has put. Yes, thank you. Who has put it? Manju Bhashini Mataji has put it. Okay, so let's read. Hayagriva Prabhu has written this. Prabhupada liked this very much, this poem. Do you know who is the first eternal spaceman of this universe? The first to send his wild, wild vibrations to all those cosmic superstations. For the song he always shouts, sends the planets flipping out. But I'll tell you before you think me loony, that I'm talking about Narada Muni, singing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A nice little sweet song. The seed is Srila Prabhupada writing in this purport, Sri Narada Muni is a liberated spaceman. Just see how Srila Prabhupada can plant the seeds in the hearts of his devotees, his disciples. Verse 32. Devadattam imam Veenam Swara Brahma Vibhushitam Murchayitva Hari Katham Gayamanas Charam Aham. Sri Narada Muni is continuing his narration to Srila Vyasadeva. And as I travel, so in the previous verse, Sri Narada Muni said that I can travel everywhere without restriction because I am always thinking and engaged in the service of Krishna. And as I travel, constantly singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, Hari Katham, Gayamanas. Vibrating this Veena, this instrument called Veena, which is charged with transcendental sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna. It was given to him by Krishna. Deva Dattam. It was given by Krishna himself. Deva is Vasudeva. Purport. The musical string instrument called the Veena, which was handed to Sri Narad by Lord Sri Krishna, is described in the Linga Puran. And this is confirmed by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami confirms that yes, the Veena of Sri Narada Muni was gifted to him by Lord Krishna himself. Narada Muni Bajaye Veena Radhika Ramanana. Further down in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes the 7 singing meters named Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa. Sorry, Sa is repetition. Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni. And there are names: Shadja, Rishabha, Gandhar, Madhyama, Panchama, Dhaivata, and Nishada are also transcendental. So these swara, these 7 swara, 7 meters, they are transcendental and specifically meant for transcendental songs. They are meant for Krishna's service, for singing transcendental songs, not for Bollywood and Hollywood music. That is misuse. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Sri Narada Dev is always fulfilling his obligation to the Lord for his gift of the instrument. Please let us deeply think about this. Krishna gave a gift to Narada Muni, Veena, and Narada Muni, out of gratitude, is using that gift only exclusively for the service of Krishna, to glorify Krishna, to sing songs about Krishna. This is gratitude. This is called Kritagyata. Always using it for singing Krishna's glories. And we can think that in his, not the previous life, but the life before that, when Narada Muni was Upabarhana Gandharva, you remember how he misused his singing talent for singing about mundane songs. He was glorifying the beauty of an Apsara in the assembly of Lord Brahma. So that guilt is always there for a devotee. A devotee always remembers the mistakes that he or she has committed, not the mistakes of others. A devotee is very eager to forgive and forget the mistakes of others, but always remembers his own mistake. Raise your hand if you can give me some examples from Srimad-Bhagavatam where a devotee always remembered the previous mistakes and was very careful. Yes, Aishwarya Mataji.
Bharat Maharaj, Prabhuji.
Superb example. Superb example. Never forgot. Never forgot. We will discuss that pastime in the 5th canto in detail. Looking forward to it. Another example. Sandeep Prabhu from Bharat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danutnam. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was thinking of Vritrasur as Maharaj Chitraketu.
Excellent example. Excellent example. Aham hare tava padai kamula dasanu daso bhavitasmi bhuya manasmareta supater gunamste grinitava karma karo tukaya. In the previous life, he had got the association of great devotees like Angiyara Muni and Narada Muni, but he did not utilize it properly. And now, as Dhritarashtra is saying, when will I again get the service of the servants of Bhagwan Hari? Yes. Another example. Who can give one more example from Srimad-Bhagavatam? How a devotee, always full of guilt, always remembered the previous mistake, never forgot. Kirtha Sundari Mataji.
Saubhari Muni.
Saubhari Muni was not so much guilt from previous mistake. There is
After marrying the daughters of Mandhata, later he realized that what he did was wrong.
Yes, that is true. That is true. What he did, his enjoying with 50 women, getting married, sense gratification, that is true. Yes. Okay. Good example. Thank you. Then Shama Kishori Mataji and Sharanagat Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I was thinking of Ajamil after
yes,
he
me too.
was, after he was rescued by the Vishnu Dutas, then he realized his mistake and then he dedicated his life remembering his mistakes.
Yes, he was very careful after that. Sharanagat Mataji.
So Chitraketu and Ajamal, I was thinking about, but then there is one more example, Devahuti, Kapil Muni's mother. She also felt that, I was in association with Kardam Muni, but instead of utilizing that as a, instead of taking his association, I kind of misused it. I was focusing on my own desires. So I don't know if it is considered as a...
Yes. And then she was so fired up that she was fine even when Kapil Dev left her. All alone, but she was doing bhajan like a ascetic. Very nice examples. Yes, Janani Mataji and Satyur Mataji, you want to add one more example?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I don't know whether this can be added, but can we think of a Hu Gandharva who was waiting for, he had done the, he had committed for Devala Rishi and he was waiting for Gajendra to come into the pond and then repent.
Yes, that's very nice. Purnima Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Pranam. Prabhuji, Dashrath Maharaj in the case of Shravan Kumar.
Dashrath Maharaj in the case of?
Shravan Kumar. When he killed Shravan Kumar.
Oh, yeah. That is very painful. Yes. Very nice example. Always remembered that. Okay, so many nice examples. So we'll continue. So therefore, the point is, what is the point here? Can someone tell? Why are we giving all these examples? What is the point we're trying to make? What is the lesson? Yes, Shama Kishori Mataji.
That we should remember our mistakes. And we should, forgive other devotees' mistakes.
Very nice. Example, Parikshit Maharaj. Forgave Shringi, no hard feelings, did not punish him, but did not forget his own mistake, that I offended a great sadhu. I put a dead snake. I could not control my thirst. I will not drink water for 7 days now, out of guilt. Till my death, I will never drink water. No food. So that is a devotee. So now verse number 33. Regarding this Sare Gama, everything to be used in Krishna's service, there is a very nice story of Srimad Ayendra Prabhu. Srimad Ayendra Prabhu was once going to Loi Bazaar to buy some thing for his deities. And somehow, even in Loi Bazaar, somebody was playing a Bollywood song in the shop. They were playing some Bollywood music. And Srimad Ayendra Prabhu heard that. And he was saying, what is this? In the abode of Srimati Radharani, they are playing all these Bollywood songs. Immediately he came back to the temple, and in the Krishna Balram Mandir, 24-hour Kirtan, he sat down and he sang Hare Krishna Mahamantra in that same melody of that Bollywood song. And that time that Bollywood song was very famous. Everybody knew, even in Vrindavan, everybody knew that Bollywood song. And Srimad Ayendra Prabhu sang that song with Hare Krishna Mahamantra as the lyrics. Same music, same tune, same melody, but Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And devotees are laughing. This is like so funny. The song is famous, it's being playing, and Srimad Ayendra Prabhu is singing it with Hare Krishna Mahamantra very nicely. Everybody liked it. Then one devotee commented, Kya Prabhuji? What Prabhuji? You stole the melody from Bollywood. You stole this tune from Bollywood. And Srimad Ayendra Prabhu said, no. All these melodies, all these ragas are actually meant to glorify Krishna. These Bollywood rascals, they stole it. And they are using it for their sense gratification. I am simply taking it and returning it back to Krishna, where it belongs. So we go to verse number 33. Pragayatah svaviryani tirtha padah priyashravaha ahuta ivame shighram darshanam yati chetasi. The Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to hear. Priya Shravaha. श्रवण करने के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. प्रिय श्रवण, nice to hear, pleasing to hear, at once appears on the seat of my heart. Shighram darshanam, immediately appears on the seat of my heart, as if called for, as soon as I began to chant his holy activities, his name, his pastimes. Shri Narada Muni is telling his realization. Supreme Lord Krishna, whose name and whose pastimes are first of all very pleasing to hear. And as I start chanting the names and pastimes of Krishna, Sone pe suhaga, even better. First of all, hearing the name and glories of Krishna is pleasing to the ears. But when I chant it, to hear it, additional benefit that immediately Krishna appears on the heart also. Just see. Can it get better than that? Can it get better than that? The mouth is chanting the nectarian names of Krishna, ears are hearing nectarian Krishna Katha, and in the heart there is appearance of Krishna. So wonderful. Srimad Narada Muni is sharing his own experience. Now, who can raise your hand? Who can tell some verse where it is said that Krishna says that wherever my glories are chanted, I am always there? Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. By the count of 3. 1, 2, okay. Saroj Nandini Madhari, go ahead.
Is it Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna? Oh, glory.
No, that is ulta. Where Krishna is, there is all glory, success, piety.
Yeah.
But I'm asking, a verse where Krishna says that I am there where my glories are chanted. Ajinkya Prabhu, you are coming from Sadhu Sangha. Fresh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, yatra gayanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami Narada.
Naham tishtami vaikunthe yoginam hridaye shiva Madbhakta yatra gayanti tatra tishtami Narada. Krishna is telling Narada Muni, and Narada Muni has experienced it personally. That Naham tishtami Vaikunthe. What is the meaning? Ajinkya Prabhu, what is the meaning? Naham tishtami Vaikunthe.
I am not there in Vaikuntha.
Yoginam hridayeshu va. Nor am I.
Neither am in the heart of yogis.
But Krishna says that I am always present in my abode. Krishna says that natad bhasyate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivat tad dhama paramam mama. I am always there in my dham, my param dham. And Krishna says that sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto. I am in everyone's heart. So why Krishna is saying I am not in Vaikuntha, I am not in the heart of yogi? How can this be true? Anybody?
That means Krishna likes more that wherever his glories are
Who
going.
is that? Who said that? Kalindi Mataji?
Yes.
Very beautifully, very wonderfully explained. Yes, this is the meaning. We have to understand what is Krishna trying to say. Naham tishtami Vaikunthe means I don't get so much pleasure in being in Vaikuntha. Yoginam hridayeshu. I don't get so much pleasure in residing in the heart of the yogi also. As much pleasure I get in Yatra gayanti mad bhakta, tatra tishtami Narada. But I am very happily present in a place where my devotees come together and they chant my name. Hari sadavase tatra yatra bhagavata jana gayanti bhakti bhavena harer namayeva kevalam. So very nice. So this is Narada Muni's experience. Now please listen very carefully. Srila Prabhupada is going to tell some nice siddhanta. Second line of the purport. As soon as a pure devotee engages himself in pure devotional service of hearing, chanting, remembering, what? Krishna Nam, Krishna Yash, Krishna Leela. At once, Krishna becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. Please read. This is Srila Prabhupada's poetry. Krishna becomes visible to the transcendental eyes of the pure devotee by reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. So wonderful. So this is when Cheto Darpana Marjanam has happened and the Darpan of the Chitta has become very clean and pure. Then we can see Krishna. If the mirror is covered with dirt and grime, nothing can be seen. Sometimes when we take a hot shower, it is said that devotees are not supposed to take hot shower. But when you take hot shower, it's all and you don't have the exhaust on, the whole bathroom becomes fogged up, right? Then you go to the mirror to comb your hair, you cannot see anything. Everything is covered with fog. Then you have to put on the exhaust fan, wait for everything to clear up. So if the mirror is covered with fog or dust or grime, you cannot see clearly. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. But by chanting Har Param Vijaya Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, by chanting Krishna Nam, heart becomes pure. When the heart becomes pure, the mirror becomes clean. When the mirror becomes clean, we can clearly see Krishna reflected in the mirror of our heart. Reflecting Krishna reflecting himself on the mirror of the heart by spiritual television. That way we can see Krishna very nicely. Just like in a mirror, we can see clearly everything. It is natural. Now listen, second Siddhanta. It is natural psychology to every individual that we enjoy hearing our own glories. Everybody agrees? We enjoy hearing our own glories. Srila Prabhupada says that is natural instinct. It is natural. And Krishna, being an individual personality like everyone else, Krishna is also an individual person. He is not an exception to this psychology. So Krishna also likes to hear his glories. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says that when we discuss Krishna's glories, we call out Krishna's name, Krishna is naturally attracted. Therefore, Krishna says, Naham tishtami Vaikunthe, yoginam hridayeshu mad bhakta yatra gayanti tatra tishtami Narada. I am present where my devotees come. Gayanti bhakti bhavena harer namayeva kevalam. I am always there. But Srila Prabhupada says this should not be taken as something egoistic. Krishna is so vain. Krishna is so egoistic. He likes to hear his own glories. No, not like that. Krishna doesn't have any false ego. Krishna doesn't have any pride. This is the difference is that Krishna is a transcendental personality, and Krishna taking pleasure in hearing his devotees glorify him is for our benefit, because when Krishna takes pleasure in our devotional service, we get benefited. We get Krishna. So Krishna getting pleased with us when we do bhajan is Krishna's mercy on us. 34. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxiety due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Etad hi atura chittana matra sparshet chaya muhu bhava sindhu plavo drishto hari charyanu varnanam. Such a beautiful verse. Bhava sindhu plavo drishto hari charyanu varnanam. Anuvarnanam means constant recitation, constant describing. Of what? Hari charya, the activity of Hari. Hari Katha. Third line of the purport. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. Correct? Generally, in this world, people like to hear topics of sense gratification. Where is good restaurant where I can eat and enjoy? Top places for vacation. Top car where I can enjoy. Best builder, so I can buy the best house. Top SUV, so I can buy the best SUV in the market. Number one SUV. So people want to hear topics of sense gratification. But as these things are exercised under the influence of external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. These things cannot actually give true satisfaction. They may give some comfort, some sense of achievement temporarily, but it is not sustained. It cannot give real happiness. If we think that dhanam, janam, sundarim can give us real satisfaction, that means we have no experience of what real satisfaction is. Not possible. It is like someone who is used to a very low standard of living, and they have no idea what high standard of living is. I can give an example of this. If someone has never really eaten a good mango, in America, now you get some good mangoes also, but if someone eats a mango which is not really very good, and they're used to it, they don't know how to eat mango, they don't know how to squeeze it into pulp and just drink it, like they don't know all that. They have never been to India, and you suddenly bring them to Ratnagiri in India and you give them the Ratnagiri Alfonso mango. It is such a high standard compared to someone who is used to eating all these hybrid mangoes, genetically modified mangoes. So anyway, so just giving an example, if someone doesn't have any idea of a higher standard, then they will think, well, it's not so important. But once we have tasted the higher taste, then we know the difference. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that all these material things, they are all within the purview of Maya, external energy. They cannot give us happiness. We belong to the internal energy of Krishna. We have to take shelter of the internal energy. Daivim prakriti ashrita. Bhajantyanana manasanatva bhudadem abhyaya. So we have to take shelter of the internal potency. And what can give real satisfaction to us is Krishna consciousness. Spiritual things can give satisfaction to the spirit soul because we are spiritual. Material things cannot give pleasure to the spirit soul because we are spiritual. We are not material. That is the point. But unfortunately, Narada Muni is saying, it is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with the sense objects. This is the unfortunate reality. Everybody is wanting their senses to be with their sense objects, bas, with the eyes, with the ears, with the skin, with the tongue, with the nose. But even such people, they can cross the ocean of ignorance on a most suitable boat. What is that suitable boat? The constant chanting of the transcendental activities of Krishna. Krishna Katha. There is a story that our acharyas tell. It's a Puranic story. There was a great Chakravarti king. A great Chakravarti king called Bhartrihari Maharaj. He was Chakravarti Samrat. And when he became the king, give me 1 second, I have to respond to this. Hare Krishna. So this Bhartrihari, he wanted to get married. He was a Chakravarti Samrat. So his ministers asked him, who would you like to marry? You are the king of the whole planet. You can marry anybody you like. He said, go and find the most beautiful woman in this whole world. And she should not only be beautiful, but she should also have all womanly skills, like cooking, decorating the house nicely. All these, womanly skills, she should be very expert. And find the best woman for me, the most beautiful woman, and I will marry her. So his ministers went on an expedition. They were looking here and there, searching for the most beautiful, most qualified woman. And they found a girl. Her name was Pingala, not the Pingala of the 11th Canto, who was a Vaishya, who was a prostitute. Not that Pingala. This was a girl, very beautiful lady, who was very well trained, who had all the womanly skills and very beautiful. So they brought her to the palace and they told Maharaj Bhartrihari, that Samrat, Chakravarti Samrat Bhartrihari ji, this is the most beautiful woman we found. She is the most qualified to marry you. And Bhartrihari got married to her, Pingala. She became the Maharani. And Maharaj Bhartrihari was so enamored by this Pingala, his wife. She was so beautiful, so nice, that he was day and night attached to her, very attached to her. In fact, he wrote 100 verses glorifying her beauty. And that book is called Shringar Shatakam. Please don't Google it, don't read it, no need. It is not for devotees. So he wrote a book glorifying his wife, how beautiful she was, called Shringar Shataka. Became a very famous book. And always he was, every meeting in the court, he would keep his wife on his left side. He would not go anywhere without his wife, very attached to his wife. He would protect her, care for her, very, very attached to her. In that kingdom, there was a very great yogi who used to live. Please listen carefully. A very great yogi. And he was a very great Brahman. But Brahmans are very poor because they have a curse from Srimati Lakshmi Devi. After Bhrigu Muni kicked Lord Narayan on the chest, Lakshmi Devi said, my mercy will not come to all of you, all the Brahmanas. So Brahmans, they have the wealth of knowledge, Brahma Gyan, but they traditionally don't have Laukik Dhan. They don't have material wealth. So Lakshmi Devi cursed the Brahmanas like that, but actually it's a hidden blessing because they will always remain materially poor. That means the only wealth they will have is Shastra. So they will take Shastra very seriously. So actually Lakshmi Devi's blessing is there. May you always remain materially poor, which is good. So anyway, so the Brahman was very poor. I'm on call, just 1 second. So this Brahman was very poor, but at the same time, he had a desire to get over his poverty. So he was very well learned in the Vedas. So in some section of Vedas, Karma Kand section, he saw that if you chant a mantra and you do some puja for Indradev, Indradev can give you wealth. So this Brahman, he sat down and did Tivra Bhajan of Indradev. Prayed to Indradev, chanted the mantra, everything. And Indradev appeared to him. And Indradev said, I will give you a fruit. And he gave him a fruit. And said, this is called Amar Fal. You know, all the demigods, they are called Amara. Mara means to die. Amara means those who have a very, very long life. So they are called Amar. And Krishna is called Amarendra, the Lord of the demigods, or Amarnath, the Lord of the demigods. So Amara is, even in the first verse of Jagannath Ashtakam, the demigods are called Amara. Brahma, Amara, Brahmaji and Amara, all the other demigods. So Indradev, who is Amar, he gave a Amar Fal to this Brahman. He said, you take this Amar Fal. It will give you a very long life, very long life. So, and before this Brahman could say anything, Indradev disappeared. Now, he had done puja with the desire that I want wealth, money. But instead, Indradev came and gave him Amar Fal. So now what to do? But anyway, he looked at the Amar Fal. He said, what will I do by becoming Amar? Already I am suffering in poverty. And if I become Amar, my suffering will only prolong. So forget this Amar Phal. I don't want this Amar Phal. But let me give it to Maharaj Bhartrihari. He's a very nice Samrat. He's very charitable. Always when I go to his court, he gives me some dakshina. Let him enjoy. He's the king. He has a healthy body. He has a beautiful wife. Let him enjoy. He can do justice to this Amar Phal. Long life he can really enjoy. So he goes to the court and he tells the king, Maharaj Bhartrihari, with great tapasya, with my tapobal, I pleased Devaraj Indra. Devaraj Indra came and gave me this Amar Phal, but I don't need it. You take it. Hey, the king was surprised. Arey, Brahman Var, you got this Amar Phal so rare. You got darshan of Devaraj Indra. Why you don't want it? He said, no, actually, I wanted some money. I will be honest with you, because Brahmanas are very honest. I wanted money. I was Dhana Bhilashi, but instead he gave me this Amar Phal. What will I do with Amar Phal? My body is old and weak, and I don't have any money. I can't do any sense gratification as a Brahmana. I am restricted in all ways. But you are king. You can enjoy. You can enjoy women, wine, long life, good health. So you enjoy. You have everything, money, luxury. So you take this Amar Phal. You enjoy. Oh, Maharaj Bhartrihari was so happy. He said, you have given me such a rare gift. Okay, he told his treasurer, please give this Brahman as much wealth as he wants. This Brahman should never lack money. Give him enough wealth. So the Brahman also was happy, and Bhartrihari is also happy. See how the happiness is in this material world. Very happy to receive the Amar Phal. But then he looked at the Amar Phal and he looked at his wife, Pingala. He says, oh, in his mind he thought, if I give this Amar Phal to my wife, she will become so impressed. She'll be so obliged to me. She'll be so happy with me. And then if she's happy with me, I will get more enjoyment. Anyway, what will I do with a very long life? If Pingala dies, what will I do? Who will I enjoy with? So better she lives a long life, so that as long as I am alive, I will always enjoy the company of Pingala. So he looks at his wife. He's thinking like this, and he looks at his wife. He says, Pingala, this Brahman has given his Amar Phal. But you know, you are the one I love the most in this whole world. For you, I have written Shringar Shatak. Take this Amar Phal. This Phal belongs to you. You eat it. I don't want. Eat. Eat. She says, no. This is Amar Phal given by Devaraj Indra. I will go to the palace. I will take a nice snan, nice bath. I'll wear fresh, clean clothes. I'll do achaman, and then I will eat it. No, eat it now. No, Maharaj. I will eat it later. Okay, no problem. As you, whatever pleases you. I am giving you this gift just to please you. Okay, you eat when you go back to the palace. Okay. Pingala goes to the palace. Now, behind the palace is the stable, the place where all the horses are kept, the royal horses. And there is a person called Ashwapal. Ashwapal is a position. Ashwapal means like Gopal, one who takes care of cows. Ashwapal is one who takes care of the Ashwa, the horses, the horse caretaker for the king. So there was Ashwapal. He was young and he used to do physical work. He was very muscular, very handsome, tall, dark, handsome. And he used to be always working behind the palace with all the horses, cleaning them, scrubbing them, riding on the horse like a stud. And this Princess Pingala used to look, this man is so handsome. And she used to call him secretly, and she was having an illicit relationship with this Ashwapal. So she thought, the person most dear to me is this Ashwapal. If I give this Amar Phal to this Ashwapal, he will be so happy. He will be so obliged to me. And what will I do with a long life? If Ashwapal has a long, healthy life, then he can give me more sense gratification. So let me give this Amar Phal to Ashwapal. From the window, she waves to Ashwapal. Come. Nobody's watching. Ashwapal comes, gives him the Amar Phal. He said, you take this Amar Phal. The king gave me, but you take it because I love you the most. Ashwapal took the Amar Phal and he went home. He thought, I am a poor Ashwapal taking care of the horses all day, cleaning the stool and urine of the horses, removing bugs from their skin all day. What is this? What will I do with a long life? I will just be cleaning horses. Instead, let me give this Amar Phal to my beloved. Now, this Ashwapal was a very low-class man, and he was addicted to a prostitute. In those days, a prostitute was a person who would come and dance for the pleasure of others. They may not do anything beyond that, but they were called prostitute because no woman of good character will dance in front of other men. So a woman who would entertain other men by dancing in front of them was called prostitute. So when we read Srimad-Bhagavatam, first canto, later chapters, when Krishna enters Dwarka, there will be a verse which says that there were prostitutes in Dwarka. So we should not think that these prostitutes were like the prostitutes of today. No, they were simply dancing. They used to dance. But even dancing in front of other men was considered so abominable that those ladies were called Vaishya or prostitute. So there was this Vaishya who was very beautiful. Now beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. For this Ashwapal, that Vaishya was very beautiful and he was having an affair with her. Very promiscuous man. He was having an affair with the queen also and with the Vaishya also. But for him, the Vaishya was very dear. So he thought, I will give this Amarfal to the Vaishya. Then she will be very obliged to me. She will like me very much. She will give me more attention. So I will give it to her. What will I do? Living a very long life. But if this prostitute lives a long life, then as long as I am alive, I can enjoy with her. So he goes to the Vaishya and gives her the Amarfal. He said, this is a very rare Amarfal. If you eat it, you will have a very fantastic, long, healthy life. So please, this is a gift to you. So she is very happy, gives the Amarfal. Then the Vaishya thinks, what will I do with this Amarfal? All my life, I'll be just singing for the king and dancing for the king. Because she used to dance in the king's court. She used to come to the palace every day to dance for the pleasure of the king. That's how Ashwapal met her and started an affair with her. So she thought, what is my life? My life is very abominable. I will always be singing and dancing for the king. What will I do with this Amarfal? What will I do with such a long life? Instead, if I give this Amarfal to the king, he can enjoy long life, healthy life with the Amarfal, and he will become very obliged to me if I give him the Amarfal. In fact, he will give me nice gold coins with which I can enjoy. So she goes to the palace next day to dance as usual in the king's court. And from the pallu of her sari, she takes out the Amarfal and goes and gives it to the king. Oh, Chakravarti Samrat, Bhartrihari ji, this is a gift for you. What is this? Oh, this is Amarfal. If you eat it, you will have a very, very long, healthy life. My dear king, you can take it. And in return, you can give me some extra money. Oh, yes, I will give you extra money. Let me look at this Amarfal. He immediately understands. It's the same Amarfal. The same Amarfal that I had given it to Pingala. And Pingala is yet to come in the assembly. The assembly has just started. Naturally, the king will not enjoy a prostitute dancing for him in presence of his wife. So this was happening in the absence of Pingala. Now Pingala was about to come in some time. The king understood that this Amarfal has come to this prostitute. I need to figure out how. So the king tells the prostitute that, my dear prostitute, this Amarfal does not belong to you. Somebody has given it to you. Tell me who gave it. I will give you many gold coins, but in return for the money, you tell me exactly who gave you this Amarfal. The prostitute looks down and she says, it was my boyfriend. Who is your boyfriend? Ashwapal. Ashwapal. Acha. Okay. Take this bag of gold coins, go. Don't have to come back again, ever. Go. This gold coins will be enough for the rest of your life. Go. Then he tells his soldiers, arrest the Ashwapal and bring him here. They immediately arrest the Ashwapal and bring him in front of King Bhartrihari. Maharaj says, you gave Amarfal to the prostitute. Yes, Maharaj. Tell me where you got it from. How can he tell in an assembly in front of everyone? All the ministers were there, so many citizens were there. He looked down. Maharaj Bhartrihari pulled out his sword. He said, in one moment, I will behead you. If you want to save your life, just tell me who gave you that Amarfal, and I will let you go. I will forgive you. Ashwapal looked down and he said, Maharani Pingala. Oh, there was pin drop silence in the court. Everybody was shocked. Maharaj Bhartrihari took a deep breath. He told Ashwapal, you are free to go. He calls his prime minister. He says, go to the palace and call Maharani Pingala. Tell her I am calling her urgently. The chief minister goes. He informs Maharani Pingala that Chakravarti Samrat Bhartrihari ji is calling you. She wears her royal dress and immediately comes in the court, very happy. As soon as she comes, she thinks the king is calling her for some special show or some special celebration. Maharani Pingala comes in the court, and Maharaj Bhartrihari says, just wait there, stop. Don't come and sit on your throne. Wait, stand there in the middle of the court. He looks at all the assembled people. He says, all the citizens, call all the citizens who want to come. We are going to have a very special occasion. So many thousands of people come. Maharaj Bhartrihari pulls out his sword and says, my dear citizens, my dear ministers, now please behold. Today I will show you the power of a Brahman. One Brahman in our kingdom has done tapasya and puja, and with his tapobal from Devaraj Indra, he has acquired a amarfal. That amarfal I gave my wife Maharani Pingala, and she has eaten it. Now with my sword I will chop off her neck. I will behead her, but nothing will happen. She will not die. I want to show all of you the pratap, the power of this amarfal that my wife has taken. My dear wife Pingala, you must have eaten the amarfal yesterday. Now please bow down. Let me cut your neck. Nothing will happen to you because you have eaten the amarfal. Come on, let's display the power of the amarfal. Pingala starts sweating, trembling in fear. She said, no, my dear husband, my dear king. No, actually, I did not eat the amarfal. You did not eat the amarfal. I will forgive you. I will let you go scot-free. I know what has transpired. But in front of everyone, I want you to own up. Just tell me, what did you do with the amarfal? Trembling with fear, Maharani Pingala said, I gave away the amarfal to my paramour, the Ashwapal. Maharaj Bhartrihari threw the sword, took out his helmet, threw it to the ground, and said, Dhikkar, Dhikkar, to hell with my kingdom, to hell with my kingship, to hell with my valor, to hell with my youth, to hell with my beauty, to hell with all my skills and all my fame and all my power. This Pingala was just an ordinary lady. I found her and made her my queen. I made her the queen of the whole world. I picked her from society and made her the queen of the kingdom. And this is how she repays me. This is her gratitude, that she has an extramarital affair with the Ashwapal. That Ashwapal I am maintaining. I am giving him a salary. I am giving him a job. I am giving him food on his plate. And he is having an affair with my queen, my wife. Dhikkar on this whole world. And immediately, spontaneously, he composed Vairagya Shatakam. Even today, anybody who follows the path of Vairagya, who wants to become a renunciate, they study this Vairagya Shatakam. This you can read. Vairagya Shatakam. And in that he says that to hell with the contact of the senses with their sense object. Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. He says, to hell with sense gratification. In the verse, Srila Prabhupada, in the verse, Srimad Narada Muni is saying, people are always full of anxiety due to desiring contact of the senses with their sense objects. And this Maharaj Bhartrihari writes, to hell with the contact of the senses with the sense objects. This is such utter nonsense. Immediately, I will take to Bhakti. And he becomes a very great devotee. And Lord Shiva appears before him, the greatest Vaishnava. Shankar Bhagwan gives him darshan and says, what do you want, my dear? Now king has become tapasvi, a great devotee. He says, Shankar Bhagwan, just give me one benediction. May I never get Madhukari with respect. Just one benediction. Because he is living like a sadhu, sannyasi. He's begging, he's doing Madhukari now. So he says, let me never get Madhukari with respect. Whenever I go to get Madhukari, let people spit on my face. Let them give me harsh words, bad words. Let them not give me charity. Let them kick me out of their homes. Give me this benediction. so that I never become attached in this material world again. Hare Krishna. This is the transformation. This is like Jada Bharat. You see, we'll discuss Jada Bharat's pastime when we come to 5th canto. It's beautiful. The activities of Jada Bharat. So amazing. He wanted to be insulted. He wanted to be humiliated. He had all knowledge, but he appeared like a fool. Imagine, you know everything, but you are purposely appearing like a fool, so nobody will respect you. Because to be insulted, to be humiliated, to not get any respect is a very safe position. Hare Krishna. To be respected is a great danger because we can become proud. Hare Krishna. So this is the realization of the great souls. There are 38 verses. There are 3 more verses. 4 more, 35, 36, 37, 38. Should we quickly go through them so we can finish this chapter? Just give me 5 minutes, okay? Let me see. Actually, you know what? There are many important points here. I don't want to just rush through it. So we'll stop here, but definitely we will finish this chapter and beyond in the next session. So today we will conclude, but with 34th verse, but let's finish the purport of 34. So let's go down the purport, next page. Instead of relishing activity, now please listen carefully, my dear friends, just 5 more minutes. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artists, one can turn his attention to the activities of Krishna with his eternal associates like gopis and lakshmis. Please, my dear friends, let us digest this verse, this line. Srila Prabhupada is clearly talking about Gopi Bhav. Srila Prabhupada is saying that instead of talking about cinema artists, hero, heroine, movie stars, all those nonsense, Hollywood, Bollywood, we should turn our attention to the activities of Krishna and Krishna's eternal associates, like the gopis and Lakshmis. Lakshmis here, it specifically refers to Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambrama Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan Dham. So these gopis and Lakshmis. So gopis we can take here as the Manjaris and Lakshmis as the Sakhis of Srimati Radharani, who is the ultimate Lakshmi. Govinda Nandini Radha Govinda Mohini Govinda Sarvasva Sarva Kanta Shiromani. She is Sarva Kanta Shiromani, Srimati Radharani. This is Srila Kaviraj Goswami in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now please listen. One Siddhanta Srila Prabhupada is telling. The Almighty Personality of God Krishna, by his causeless mercy, descends to the earth. One question, the 6th question was of the sages in the 1st chapter. Why does Krishna appear in this world as a son of Devaki and Vasudeva? The Almighty Lord Krishna appears by his causeless mercy, descends to the earth and manifests his Leela, his pastimes. Almost like a Naravat Leela, almost like a worldly man. But at the same time, extraordinary. He will do Ras Leela, he will lift up Govardhan, he will dance on the hoods of Kaliya. So, extraordinarily. Why? Because he's almighty. And he does this for the benefit of all conditioned souls, Nitya Baddha Jivas like us. Why? So that we can turn our attention to Krishna. Because we will be attracted by Krishna Leela. So why does Krishna come? For our benefit. To attract the conditioned souls. And by doing so, the conditioned soul will gradually be promoted to the transcendental position and easily cross the ocean of ignorance, nescience, which is the cause of all miseries. This is stated from personal experience by such an authority as Sri Narada. Narada Muni personally has experienced. Why? Because by the association of Bhakti Vedantas, he has attained that state. And Srila Prabhupada says, and if we can have the same experience if we follow in the footsteps of Sri Narada Muni. Therefore, our path is Mahajano Yena Gathasa Pantha. Granthara Srimad-Bhagavatam ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sorry, my intention was to finish the chapter today, but I got carried away in the story of Bhartrihari. So I will stop here if there are any questions. Sharanagat Mataji, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I don't remember if we discussed that, but Narad Muni's previous 2 lives we were talking about. So was he Nitya Baddha before, and then like in the Narada's life he became like Nitya Siddha?
So Shripad Narad Muni is a Nitya Siddha, and his previous 2 lifetimes we discussed in the previous classes, how he was the Gandharva Upabharana, and that Leela took place where he made a mistake and he was cursed. And then he became Dasi Putra and perfected his life. So Sripad Narada Muni is Nitya Siddha, but they also do Naravat Leela, ordinary human like pastime, so that we can relate to them. Like Srila Prabhupada, also Nitya Siddha, but he went to school, he met his spiritual master, he got initiated, he struggled as a farmer in the pharmaceutical business. So many things he did, but he's a Nitya Siddha. So like that, Sripad Narada Muni also manifested those Leela. Okay, Mataji?
Yes.
Sripad Narada Muni Nitya Siddha.
So is Jadabhara, Chitraketu, all these devotees that we see, they are all Nitya Siddha?
So that we don't know, Mataji. It is not specifically mentioned, but because Sripad Narada Muni is an incarnation of Bhagwan, he is a direct expansion of Bhagwan, he is Nitya Siddha. Other devotees we don't know. There is nothing mentioned by our Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas as far as I have read.
Okay.
But Bharat Maharaj, very great devotee. He is the direct son of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maharaj Rishabh Dev's son is Bharat Maharaj. Very great soul. Okay. Is that okay, Sharanath Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, I'm just searching example of someone who is a Nitya Baddha and then he became liberated. So
all of us, all sadhakas.
All sadhakas.
All sadhakas. See, Nitya Siddha are extremely rare. Extremely rare. Nitya Siddhas are extremely rare. Only very few like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Kaviraj Goswami. But most of the other sadhakas, they are all sadhana siddha or kripa siddha. Okay?
Nitya
Siddhas are very rare. Mostly it's our acharyas, the parampara. That Srila Prabhupada has given that parampara. Like that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for such beautiful explanation. I had, it's not exactly a question, but just a thought that came to my mind when you were talking about the Sapta Swaras, and you gave the example of Indra Prabhu, that how he used that tune to sing Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But in today's world, when some devotees do that, they borrow the tunes of some songs and then they try to do that. It kind of, makes the devotees meditate upon the original song that they might have heard in some movie or something. So although it does benefit to attract some crowd who are like addicted to watching movies into Krishna's song, but it sometimes have a reverse effect that you use the song and then you make the other devotees also meditate on that song instead of focusing on the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I'm not sure if are we supposed to follow in the footsteps of Indra Prabhu, or we should just refrain from that and then use the various other tunes that we have.
We should certainly follow in the footsteps of Sripad Indra Prabhu, because the footsteps of Sripad Indra Prabhu are, Sripad Indra Prabhu composed more than 300 original rag based melodies of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Original, he composed. Those are the footsteps of Sripad Indra Prabhu. But only once or twice he took the melody from Bollywood and gave it back to Radha Shyam Sundar. So these footsteps we should follow. What does it mean? Mainly we should sing authentic melodies of our acharyas. We should sing rag-based melodies based on the time, based on Ashtakali Leela. There are ragas for the night, ragas for the afternoon, ragas for early morning. So we should follow that. We should do rag-based singing, like in Radharaman temple. You can only sing rag-based melodies based on the time of the day. So that we should follow. Srila Prabhupada also, for the morning Samsara Dava, Mangalarti Prabhupada was very particular. Don't change the tune. Keep that the morning melody. Because Krishna, Radharani, they like it. So we should follow in the footsteps of Sripad Indra Prabhu, which means mainly rag-based, authentic acharya melodies. But every now and then, we can purify Bollywood also by offering their tunes to Krishna. Is that okay?
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Dasasmi. Sarmishta Mataji and then Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Dhanvat Pranam.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful story. Prabhuji, my question is there any specific book which teaches us about Vairagya we should learn?
Brahmacharya in Krishna Consciousness by Srila Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. I will share that book with you. I have the PDF. It is not just for men, but it is also for Matajis also. So it's an essential book for every devotee to read in Krishna Consciousness. Everybody should read this book, Brahmacharya in Krishna Consciousness.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And all books of Srila Prabhupada, everywhere Srila Prabhupada talks about Vairagya. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. So there is no bhakti without Vairagya. Gyan and Vairagya, they come with bhakti. They are part of the package. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Asu Vairagya Jnanam Chatat Ahetukam. So it's part of the package of bhakti. But I will share with you. Brahmacharya in Krishna Consciousness by Srila Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. Okay?
Yes, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Also, reading the 5th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam is very helpful. There is a lot of discussion about Vairagya in the 5th canto, especially the teachings of Maharaj Jadabharat to Rahugana Maharaj. Teachings of Jadabharat to Rahugana Maharaj. There are 3 chapters talking about Vairagya. All right. Divya Mataji? Sorry, go ahead.
Just a small question. I have a doubt that I have never heard about females taking sannyas or something like in ISKCON especially.
Who taking sannyas?
Females. Women never take sannyas. In ISKCON, I have never heard about this. Is it right, or is it mentioned in any shastras that females also can take sannyas or like?
Traditionally, no. Traditionally, in the Varnashram system, women do not take sannyas. They are always under the protection of some male member of the family, either the father or the husband or the son, like that. So traditionally, no.
But there are so many females, like they don't have their father or husbands or even son. So what should they do?
So Varnashram Dharma is Varnashram Dharma, and we respect and we try to follow it with Krishna consciousness. That is Daivi Varnashram. When Krishna is in the center, it is Daivi Varnashram. And in Daivi Varnashram, Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Matsakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Krishna is everything. In Krishna consciousness, Krishna is everything. So if one does not have that type of support, there is nothing to fear. We have examples of Ganga Mata Goswamini. We have examples of Srimati Janava Devi. We have the example of Srimati Vishnupriya Devi. When Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Vishnupriya Devi had no male member to protect her. There was Ishan. There was Vamshivadana Thakur. They were servants. They were servants. Janava Mata also, after Shri Nityananda Prabhu entered the deity of Radha Bamkim Rai, even Janava Devi, she was also alone. Vasudha Devi also went with Shri Nityananda Prabhu, and Srimati Jana Devi was left alone. Ganga Mata Goswamini was never married. She was always single. So these examples are there, but these are rare examples. These are exceptions. They are not the rule. The rule is that a woman should always be under the protection of a male member of the family. That is practical. It is according to Dharma, Sanatan Dharma, and it is the safe way to proceed. But if someone does not have, there is no loss in Krishna consciousness, because ultimately Krishna is everything. So one can take shelter of Krishna. One can consider Krishna as our everything. And one can be in the association of sincere Vaishnavis. We should be careful of, we should beware of male association. A woman who is not under the protection of a male should be always very careful of male association. You were there in the class day before yesterday, in the Bhakti Vaibhava class, where we spoke about Jaimini Rishi and Srila Vyasadeva. Balavan Indriya Gramo. We discussed that story, that one should be very careful. So just one should be under the shelter or in the association of Vaishnavis and be very careful and be completely dedicated to Krishna. And a modern example of that is Mother Ladini Devi, who is one of the greatest inspirations and role models personally for me in my life. Srimati Ladini Devi, disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Her husband left her, and from a worldly point of view, it was very sad. But there is a very nice book called Legacy of Love, and also I have tried to glorify Ladini Mataji in one class. So it's a long story, but Ladini Mataji was by herself. She traveled, she went to so many tough places in Africa, West Africa, and she even performed continuous service to Lord Jagannath. And alone she would live with Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Sudarshan on a mountaintop in New Vrindavan. And for many years, almost 2 decades, she served. From 1972 to 1989, almost 2 decades, she served Jagannath continuously on a mountaintop, all alone, with no assistant pujaris, all alone. So yes, one can do that, but one has to be under the guidance of superior devotees and always be surrounded by Vaishnavi association. That is very important. And one should never trust any man, any male, and always keep away from male association. This gender etiquette has to be very carefully followed in ISKCON, in any spiritual society. Okay, Sarvishta Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Men and women should not mix freely. Divya Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Since you spoke about prostitutes, I was just wondering, how do we understand the Kubja Leela? Because it's like when you just read that pastime, it sounds like illicit sex. So, I mean...
Kubja. No.
Kubja.
No, Krishna simply embraced her. That's all.
Okay.
And it was not on a physical level. Krishna's reciprocation, his alingan, is purely on a spiritual love, on the level of spiritual love, adhyatmic prem, shuddha prem. And Kubja actually attained the bhav of the gopis of Vrindavan. She attained pure love for Krishna. And there is no sex life, as we know in this world, in Golok Vrindavan. So that we should not superimpose our material experience on Krishna's pure pastimes. Krishna's reciprocation with the gopis of Alingan Chumban, it is purely spiritual exchange of rasa, of love. And because our eyes are so covered with these horrible lenses of material experience, that we naturally tend to see Krishna's intimate pastimes with the gopis in the same light, because of our baddha avastha, because of our being conditioned. Like a person having severe jaundice, everything tastes bitter. That is our condition, Srila Rupa Goswami writes. Therefore, our acharyas explain that we should not read the pastimes of Krishna, interaction of Krishna with the gopis, for this reason only, because we will consider it to be mundane sensual gratification, mundane romance. It is not like that. Radha and Krishna are non-different. Radha Krishna ek atma, dui dehadhari, anyonya vilasa rasa asvadana kari. And that is not true for the mundane relationships under the influence of sex hormones that we see in this material world. Atmendriya priti ichha dhare kamanam, Krishnendriya prithivancha dhare premanam. When you want to satisfy our own senses, Atmendriya priti, that is called kam, lust. But Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. But when you want to satisfy the senses of Krishna, that is not lust, that is prem, divine prem. So this is a deep spiritual science which can be understood only as we make spiritual advancement. Therefore, at this stage, we should simply have respect, adar buddhi, for Krishna's intimate pastimes with the gopis, knowing them to be the highest realization of spiritual love. There is Shanta, there is Dasya, there is Sakhya, then there is Vatsalya, and finally there is Madhurya Prem, Kanta Prem, Gopi Bhav. So that is the highest evolution of spiritual love, of Shuddha Prem, Prema Bhakti. So we should have Adar Buddhi, we should have respect, and we should have a desire that I want to become purified so that I can actually understand the loving dealings of Krishna with his female companions. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Ama Bhuja Bose Yugala Piriti. This Yugala Priti, this divine love between Radha and Krishna, or love between Radha, or love between Krishna and Radharani's maid servants, the Sakhis and the Gopis. This can be understood only following in the footsteps of Sri Rup and Sri Raghunath Goswami and by studying their literature. So we have a long way to go. But we have enrolled in the Rupanuga school, all of us. We are Rupanuga Vaishnavas. So we have to keep going. And slowly, slowly we'll get there. That's why we chant the Kam Gayatri mantra. For this purpose only, so that we get entrance into this divine calm, this divine love of Radha and Krishna. Madhurya Prem. That is why we chant the 7th mantra called the Kam Gayatri mantra. There is no other purpose to get this Gopi Bhav. Gopi Bhav Rasamrita Abdilahari Kallola Magno Muhur Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Is it okay, Divya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. One more thing I wanted to ask you. What about illicit sex? We hear this like so often, that illicit sex. So I'm wondering, within the marriage, I mean, does that even apply to married couples? Like, I mean, people, the devotees are married. There are anyways, illicit sex doesn't apply to them, right? Or I'm just wondering.
Yeah. So the whole idea of sex is that I am a man, somebody is a woman, or I am a woman and you are a man, and we come together and we enjoy each other's bodies. But are we the body? No, we are not the body. Are we man? Are we woman? No. Jivara Swarup hai Krishna Nitya Das. We are simply Krishna Das, simply servants of Krishna. That is our Swarup. And the whole premise of sexual enjoyment is based on mithya. It is based on falsity. It is based on false identification, ahankar. Therefore, all sex is wrong. All sex is to be given up. Therefore, every devotee must read Brahmacharya in Krishna Consciousness by Srila Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. Every devotee. Whether we are straight, whether we are gay, LGBTQ, everything is wrong. Everything is to be given up. Everything is tyajya. It is to be renounced. A devotee means no sex, no material sex. Because it's based on a whole wrong foundation. We want to get rid of that foundation. How can we enter the Nikunja of Radha and Krishna if we are having physical relationships with the opposite sex? Impossible. Bhagavad Prapti is impossible. Getting Krishna is impossible. So within marriage, sex is sinful, but outside marriage, sex is very, very sinful. So there are different levels. Masturbation is subtle sex. It creates very bad impression. So that is wrong. Within marriage, it is less sinful. And the aim should be that we want to get over this as soon as possible. Within marriage, for the purpose of getting children, in a Krishna conscious way, getting devotee children is not at all sinful. In fact, Krishna says, Balam Balavatam Chaham, Kama Raga Vivarjitam, Dharma Aviruddha Bhuteshu, Kamosmin Bhartarshava. Oh Arjun, I represent the sexual intercourse between a husband and wife for the sake of getting Krishna conscious children. Something that is not opposed to dharma. Dharma aviruddha. Kamosmi. I am that kam. I am that sexual attraction. So that is not bad. So licit sex is sex between husband and wife for the purpose of getting Krishna conscious children. Illicit sex is everything else. Once I had asked my spiritual master, what is the definition of illicit sex. And my Guru Maharaj said, any loss of semen other than for procreation of Krishna conscious children within marriage is illicit sex. So it's very clear. So everything has to be given up. And it is not difficult if we have a strong foundation of Krishna consciousness and we are developing attraction for Krishna Nam, Krishna Katha, and Krishna Bhaktas. If you are attached to Krishna's names, Krishna's pastimes, and Krishna's devotees, then we don't even have to think about sex. It becomes a past. It becomes a remote past. Srila Yamunacharya says that when I think about sex, my lips curl in distress and I spit at the thought. Like Bhartrihari, Dhikkar on this. What is the use of this material life? It will simply keep us in this material world. I see my patients. I'm a geriatrician. I see my patients. Old age. What is going to happen to this body? Our body is going to become old and it's going to just dwindle and die. And we are thinking, I am a young man. I have to enjoy. I have to squeeze as much sense gratification from this body as possible. It's all mithya. It's all based on falsity. And of course, outside marriage, very sinful. Any sexual contact outside marriage is very sinful. And to force oneself on another without their permission, that is most sinful. Most sinful. So in this way, there are different levels from illicit sex within marriage. That is no problem. That is very good. Then there is illicit sex within marriage. There is masturbation. There is sex outside the marriage. And then there is things like molestation and rape. They are horribly most sinful. So everything has to be given up except sex within marriage for the purpose of getting Krishna conscious children after chanting 50 rounds each minimum. That is the standard that we should do, those who want to have children. And then we should not perform abortion, and we should take care of the children so that they get a good chance, good opportunity to become Krishna conscious devotees. That is the purpose of a responsible grahastha life. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ananta Vilas Prabhu. And then Sharanagat Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhu, I have, thank you for this wonderful class, Prabhu. I have three questions, Prabhu. One is, okay, Prabhu, like when we are in, even as a devotee, okay, how sometimes, okay, while we are progressing in our devotional life, okay, we feel sometimes stagnated, okay, and in that case, okay, we are struggling while we are struggling to become sincere, but then, okay, we may be lacking that taste. That taste may be like going up and down, okay, in terms of Krishna. How do we have that constant taste, Prabhu? Like, how do we?
There is only one solution to that. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra ko hai, lava matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi hai. We have to remain in high class, high quality Vaishnava association. And we should serve the Vaishnavas and not offend them. That's it. Second question.
Second question is, Prabhu, this is, I have read it in Srimad-Bhagavatam, Prabhu, that for the Nitya Siddhas, they perform Leela in 10 rasas. So can they perform the Leela like simultaneously? Okay, and I'm especially asking this because I had heard this, like, Srila Prabhupada, when he was asked, okay, what is your position in the spiritual world? So he said, okay, you will faint, okay, if you know what it is. So can they be simultaneously performing the Leelas in multiple rasas, Prabhu?
So there are not 10, but there are 12 rasas. 7 are secondary, 5 are primary. And sometimes the secondary rasas, they come, but that is not the sthai bhav. That is not the sthai bhav. Sthai bhav is the main predominant rasa. Like Srila Bhishmadev, his main rasa is dasya. He's in dasya bhav. But in Mahabharata, temporarily, he plays the role of virya ras, chivalry, fighting with Krishna. So those Vyabhichari bhav, they come, but they are temporary. But the sthai bhav is permanent. So secondary bhavas may come and go. So yes, one can serve in different rasas, but it is temporary. But there is one sthai bhav, one main bhav for every devotee.
So at a time they'll be like they'll be in one.
Yes, one sthai bhav.
Okay.
One sthai bhav. Like Madhumangal in Sakhya, Lalita Sakhi in Madhurya, Yashoda Rani in Vatsalya, like that. Sthai bhav is one. Go ahead, Prabhu.
And third question is, Prabhu, you mentioned about this legacy of love, like this book, and I heard your lecture last year on Nityananda Trayodashi where you glorified Her Grace Haladini Mataji. So, Prabhu, like this book is out of print in the market, like I couldn't find this.
Yes, I think Ladini Gopika Mataji, is she there? She also was trying to find this book, but I think she left. But Ladini Gopika Mataji also was trying to find this book, but I don't think she was able to. Maybe someday I will photocopy my book and send it across. It's not a very good, small book only. Okay? Sure. Yes. Sharanagat Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just quick question that like you were saying about the Stree or like woman, they are like always under the protection of the Pita, Pati and Putra. And regarding that, since last time I had this question that like, what if these three are like not at all Krishna conscious, they are very materialistic, and then when she is dependent, like it's very difficult to follow all these rules and regulation. Can she be excused? I mean, in that situation, what is it the Shastra says?
Here individual counseling, individual guidance is required because it is case-to-case basis. But at least for material protection, one can remain with one's husband or son or father. And for spiritual protection, ultimately our spiritual master is our Pati. For all of us, spiritual master is our Pati. Pati means Lord. Spiritual master is our Pati. So he's Maharaj. Maharaj means king. And king is Niripati. Correct? King is called Niripati. So our spiritual master Maharaj, he's our king, he's our Pati. So yes, we can spiritual protection, we can have our spiritual master as our eternal Pati, Lord. And for material protection, for practical purposes, we can stay with our family members even though they may not be Krishna conscious. And with our love, with our behavior, in most cases they can be converted into devotees.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let me just quickly glance through the. Jayakumar Prabhu has already shared Brahmacharya and Krishna consciousness. So please download it. And yeah, others are all Nal Kuber, Manigiri, Kuber, San Ambarish Maharaj. Okay, so very nice. We don't have any questions there. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We'll see you on Tuesday. ग्रंथराज Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय।
Did he share it only with you? I don't see it on the chat.
Yes.
Everyone, you see in the chat box, Brahmacharya and Krishna consciousness. I will share it.
In the group. Please share in the group.
Yeah, I'll share it on the WhatsApp group. But only thing is, I don't want to get into trouble. So just be careful, okay? Because it's copyrighted. So maybe I'll get into trouble. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada. But we tried to buy this book and it is out of print. So that's why I'm sharing the soft copy. It is not in print anymore.
Yes.